What is the most overlooked aspect of poker success? Right now, there's a lot of content out there about picking great game theory optimal lines through using solvers, or finding great exploits to dominate against your player pool. But what I don't hear a lot of people talking about is how does one prepare their mind and their body to play a session of poker? My goal in this video is to convince you that poker is a high performance activity which can be approached much the same way that an athlete approaches their sport in terms of preparation and recovery. I'll also lay out some of the things that have worked for me in terms of my own routine, and I will hopefully help you begin to develop a routine that works for you. But before we get into all of that, I want to talk about what players are currently doing, especially recreational players, but a lot of professional players too, surprisingly, is often they're coming from some place that is carrying with it some emotion. So they're coming from maybe like an office job in the case of a recreational player, maybe if they had some run-ins with their boss that day or some busy meetings, or they're coming from a family gathering, where maybe there was something that's still on their mind when they're coming to poker. And so it's so important to find a way to wipe the slate clean in some way before you come to the poker game. You need to be at your very best and completely focused on the task at hand. So often creating some sort of pause before this happens will be very helpful in the case of using exercise or meditation. A lot of this is not currently being used by poker players. A lot of them are coming with the mindset of, I just kind of want to splash around and socialize. And, that's perfectly fine, but you can't expect the same results if that's the way you're approaching the game. Similarly, if you're a poker player that your whole entire study is basically perusing YouTube and just watching content very passively, you are not going to reach your full poker potential. And so a lot of people think that, well, I've watched, vlogs from some of the very best players. I've seen like Mariano and I've seen Hungry Horse Poker and I've seen all these great moves. And now I'm just going to show up at poker and try to emulate what they were doing. The problem is a lot of that was consumed passively. And so there was no active practice with your own thought process to put you in the right frame of mind to play. Additionally, a lot of poker players are not eating as healthy as they need to. It can really affect the way you feel at the table in terms of being lethargic if you've eaten too heavy of a meal, or you'll just be a lot less focused if you've consumed too much sugar. So a lot of little things like this can really throw off your equilibrium and lead to poor decision making, even if you've put in the study time. So I want to move away from that for now. If you've made it to this point in the video, you probably are not one of these players. You probably want something more out of your poker experience. There are a lot of people that just come to poker to splash around, to have fun, and to enjoy the social atmosphere. But if you're watching poker content like this that's designed to help you optimize yourself as a player, you probably want something more from the experience. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about what my own process is like and some of the things that I do to put myself in the right state of mind to play. So often poker is not just about the hours that you're spending at the table. It's really the hours in between sessions too, where you're recovering from the sessions and you're learning from the sessions. So my preparation often involves looking at hands from the previous session. I'll make sure that I'm never showing up to a session with anything unresolved mentally. And so maybe I'll use a program like Flopzilla or GTO Wizard and just think through the different variables and make sure that I've learned from the spot for next time so that I'm a better player in the upcoming session. I'll also do some things to process any of the emotions from the previous session. Poker can be a grind, and it's very easy for emotions to leak through from one session to the next if you're not tending to them in some way. So I have a log where basically I write down all my poker results for the day, the hours played, the net result, but I also have a column for notes. And in that column, it's more or less a quick brain dump of all the things that happened in the session that are still weighing on me. And it's a way to just kind of offload some of that so I'm not carrying it with me to the next session. I also use exercise in between every single session to wipe the body clean and to not be carrying those heavy emotions with me so that I'm not already on tilt when I sit down for the next session. I'm also making sure that I've meditated the night before every session. and I use that as a way to clear my mind. But occasionally, I introduce some visualizations that can really help with the process. So I may bring up a difficulty that's been coming up a lot in poker sessions that has been giving me trouble. And I'll try to put myself in that spot beforehand so when the moment strikes, I'm ready for it. Maybe it's a spot where I'm out of position, I'm deep stacked, and a maniac has position on me. And it's a spot where I want to put myself in that place emotionally and really feel it through and kind of prime my mind to make the right decision so that when the moment comes, I'm ready. This is something I help clients do all the time with this type of visualization and meditation training. If you want to build a routine with me through PTO Poker that works the best for you to put you in the right frame of mind to play, check out our website and book a free consultation. Happy to help you build that. I'm also eating healthy throughout the week, not just when I'm at poker, but I'm trying to eat a diet that's pretty high in protein and low on processed sugars, and just allowing me to feel at my very best and make the best decisions that I can. I also want the whole process to be fun. So this is one important thing. It's the type of thing where it's very easy to methodically check off all these boxes and think that you're preparing in such a way that puts you in the right frame of mind to play. But actually the process is so serious and so joyless, and it just doesn't feel fun to be doing these things. So it's important to be finding things that work for you. If you don't like one form of exercise, like maybe you don't like cardio, but you love to go and play basketball, or you love to go and play tennis with a friend, do something that just puts you in that frame of mind to play. It doesn't have to be a specific thing, but as long as it feels good to you, gets your heart rate up, and releases some of those endorphins so that when you're sitting down at the table, you feel relaxed, you feel patient, you don't need to chase those high dopamine draws. Well, now all of a sudden you've accomplished the same task and you've done it while having fun. As I alluded to earlier, sleep is an important factor, so I'm very diligent about getting 8 hours of sleep every night before I play, and as much as I can throughout the week, because a sleep debt really does build up if you miss it on other nights. So if I have a late night session, say the session goes until 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning, I really try to get 8 hours of sleep and not let it carry over into the next day. In addition to all of these things that we're doing, we are also making sure that our practice at home is an active practice style. So when I'm studying poker, I want to make sure that I'm the one inputting the assumptions. I'm the one working on my own thought process. And I'm not just passively absorbing content in a way where I'm not thinking about it critically as I'm going. If that's the way that you're approaching poker, it's just too hard to access that information and apply it correctly in the moments where you need it the most, where the most pressure is on you. So my students know that our poker coaching sessions are very interactive. I'm constantly pressing them for their thought processes in various spots, and we're thinking critically about it as opposed to just assuming that some sort of exploit is always going to work across the board. So I hope that this video helped you in terms of thinking about some things you can do to put yourself in the best frame of mind to play. Poker is often thought of as an activity for, degenerates even. It's like a gambling related activity. And what I want to convey through this is it can just as easily be an activity which is more or less a vehicle towards healthier living, towards a better lifestyle, where you're doing all the things you need to do to be at your very best, not just for poker, but throughout the week as well for your own health and your own well-being. I hope you liked this video, and if you enjoyed it, please subscribe for more content just like this.